Solution Zero brings together the
it's,
most bright and talented individuals across the UK to look at these old problems in a new way.
Thanks for taking the time to speak with us. Could you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your company?
Of course. So my name is Matt Mugen. I'm the Chief of Staff at a company called BX. We are a software platform that enables farmers to communicate, improve, and monetize their environmental performance. So we're founded by a guy called Ben Bardsley. He was a fifth-generation farmer, ex-British military, and on his family farm that they'd farmed for 130 years in the orchard space, so they did apples, pears, cherries, things like that. They recognized there was a real issue with understanding your environmental performance, and actually the incentivization of improving your environmentals for farms was a real challenge. So he created BX as an incubation within that farming business, but then he spun out of Bardsley Farms in 2022, might have been 2021, and spun BX out from there on a mission to continue to develop the support for farmers in their environmental performance, especially in particularly what we concentrate on is around orchard systems, vineyards and nuts. We also look at hops as well as these kind of perennial crops. So there's a lot of work being done in the row crop space in some of the things that we do. But the orchard systems is a huge part of the global supply chain in terms of food and drink. And that is where we're focusing our efforts because it's our domain knowledge is really there.
So you're helping cider producers, maybe beer companies, trying to decarbonize, improve their environmental performance, at that agricultural stage. What is the biggest challenge for farmers to overcome in terms of this environmental impact that they have? What's specific to the UK, and if you work abroad, do you see any differences?
So we do a lot of our customer base is based in Washington State and California in the US. Because they just have such huge farms there that are operating in the spaces that we're in. And the big challenges for them, I kind of see it, there's three parts really. The first is differentiating their products based on environmental performance is really hard for farmers. By the time it gets to the consumer, actual knowledge of where it came from, who the farmer was, and particularly making sure that the money that is generated by consumers who want to pay for things that are good for the planet isn't necessarily translating back to the farmer because of the way that the global food supply system currently works. And so being able to differentiate themselves, we've created tools that help us do that for farmers around kind of scoring their environmental performance with the BX score and understanding more about the things that they're doing and how they can improve those things. The second is ag tech in the climate space is there's a lot of innovation, but the connection between the tech that you use and the increase in revenues that you get as a farmer is basically consigned to reducing fertilizers. So you reduce fertilizers, you have more money in your pocket, but you're not making more money. We're trying to spin that on its head by making technology that allows farmers to see deeper insights into how they can improve their farming practices, measure what's going on, improve their carbon footprint, but also improve their sequestration rates, measure that, and then become farmers who can say, my produce is carbon neutral, my produce is carbon positive even, and then sell that as part of what they do. And so our tool, which we call SAM, is a piece of technology which kind of gathers farmer data, gathers open source satellite data, lots of different kind of pieces of technology in and around the environmental space, and then gives the farmer back field, farm level insights about on this particular field, this has lower soil organic matter than this field, it can be improved, and you could do things like this on that field to improve that. So all of that's about improving what they're doing. And then finally, the last part of the BX ecosystem is on around carbon credits. So we focus on methodologies within carbon credits which are most beneficial to orchard systems and hop systems. So that is two programs really. One is soil sequestration and generation of soil credits. And the second is for the whole ecosystem of orchards at end of life, what we can do with material that's removed, so woody biomass, and how we can turn that into biochar and continue to make kind of increase farmer revenues from there. So the whole circularity of the farming system is encompassed in the carbon credits that we focus on.
So this is a software platform that helps farmers change, but does it help them apply for carbon credits, or does it kind of like walk them through the steps to make sure that their farm is sequestering carbon in the soil?
So BX take on the role of developing those carbon credit projects. So instead of kind of giving the farmers the tools to do it themselves, it is a complicated world, and I think that one of the key things around the development of carbon credits over time is the kind of highly verified nature of it, which is where the software platform comes in. So the data that we're gathering is kind of highly granular. Anybody who's buying carbon credits can really understand what's happening at a field level that's generating those carbon credits. But then in terms of like helping the farmers to monetize that, it's a lot of effort to farm in the first place. Doing more to generate those carbon credits is even more work. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is take the heavy lifting partly through software and partly through the position that BX are in, which is to be kind of almost like the market developer. We take care of the MRV, we put the project together, they join the project, and then they basically use the software to improve what they're doing on their farm at the same time as generating the carbon credits. And so there's a lot less heavy lifting on them, and particularly in terms of benefit, we group our farms together so that it's not one farm looking after their own project, they're doing their thing, but in terms of creating credits, taking them to the market, selling them, getting the returns to the farmer, that's all part of what we offer within the ecosystem. So that the farmer just farms and the incentive is there and the improvements are being measured and kind of created at the same time.
Wow, that's really interesting. I could definitely have a lot of questions for you, but just, we're here on the floor, so one last question. What does BX stand for?
It's a great question. It actually stands for Bardsley X, which means nothing, but in terms of like where obviously the background is Ben, as the founder, kind of put it within the Bardsley Farm network. When we spun it out, we were already using BX and we were kind of out in the world, so went through an amazing rebranding process and have built a brand around that since then. So it's BX. It kind of stands for nothing. The meat of BX isn't what we do, as opposed to...
Well, look at BYD, you can start out with an acronym that people don't understand, and then you take over the world, so who knows. Thanks a lot for speaking with us, Matthew.
Thank you very much.